Black cisgender heterosexual identified men are killing Black trans women. Black ones.
We are not talking about it in the church.
Those street guys are already engineers. If they're mixing drugs and stuff together, they're chemical engineers.
If you're just like, yeah, let's kill 50 cops just because, you know, that's only a fraction of the Black people that they killed. Wait, now you're talking about my wife.
For those of you who are joining in, we are talking about just the housing in the Black community and owning property, why it's important, and how to get yourself in there.
When I think of financial literacy, I just don't think of the classroom work. I think some of it is practical application.
I'm scared, especially, you know, calling them to arms, talking about poll workers or poll watchers. That is rooted in history of voter suppression and intimidation.
Joe Biden needs to make that a part of his educational platform.
Call that shit out.
I don't see much value in you speaking in tongues, and yet when you speak in English, you don't say nothing for my people.
Many of the reasons why we're dying is because of the conditions we live under that cause our health to be so bad, and that cause it's the food, it's the water, it's clean that shit up first.
Their fathers had prostate cancer. I had like a 150% chance of getting cancer, being diagnosed with cancer. I had a friend that did a raw vegan diet, 20 years remission, had thyroid cancer, never had surgery. I'm like, that's what I'm doing.
This week in Black People Shit, we are all about hot topics. And as some people like to say, spilling the tea. I really hate that, but I said it anyway. Anyway, I'm your host, Christy Ferris. Today, we have a lot of amazing hot topics that we are going to discuss. Please make sure you chime in. Make sure you like and follow and share today. And I'm going to bring in my wonderful co-host, with an S, Janora McDuffie and Abdul Majid.
Hey,
What's happening, y'all?
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
Merry Christmas, Janora.
Thank you so much, Abdul. No, I am so proud of my tree, and there is no shame in my holiday everlasting tree. It has been the Valentine's Day tree, after it was the Christmas tree, then it was St. Patty's Day tree, and now it is my Easter tree. And it's so pretty, and it brings me joy. And at first, so my wife and I always go to my home in North Carolina for every Christmas. So we usually don't even put up a tree, but because of COVID, we were stuck here, so decided to put one up. And Christmas is so big for me at home that I decided to keep it up until I can get back home to see my family. So
Yay.
Now it's the Easter tree. And so now I'm debating, is it going to be the Cinco de Mayo tree next?
Yes.
I don't know.
Maybe I love it.
Juneteenth tree? I don't know. So stay tuned.
Yeah,
Why don't you make it a 420 tree?
Because I don't smoke those trees. It wouldn't be as meaningful to me as it would to you, Abdul.
I don't smoke those trees either, Janora McDuffie.
But you got double bags over there full of something, but we're not going to go back to that episode.
No, we're not. That was not me. That was somebody else.
Okay.
Well,
Christy, why don't you like spilling the tea?
The term, I don't know. I just think it's so always being used, and I just think it's a little corny. You know what I mean? Like they use it all the time, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. With
yeah. Once I heard white people start saying it on like the daytime talk shows, then it was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, just white, black, whatever. I don't care. It's just.
But it started out with green with Kermit. I love those memes.
Oh, the memes were hilarious. Yeah, the memes were hilarious. That's good. Well, we might as well go ahead and spill a little tea right now.
Yes.
So, how many of you guys out there, if you did get a chance to see it, did you guys check out the versus battle with the Isley brothers against the Earth, Wind, and Fire? Ow! So I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out, but I was jamming the whole entire time. And before we make sure you put it in the chat if you guys got a chance to see it. I'm curious to know what your thoughts were. Did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time? And also, there was a little bit of controversy that's out there. Ron Isley, the Isley brothers, played two songs, one Contagious, but both songs were written by R. Kelly and produced by R. Kelly. And so my question I want to throw out there to all of you who are watching, and of course my co-host, do you think that he should have kept it out? So Janora, go ahead. Did you watch it, and did you enjoy it, and what are your thoughts about the R. Kelly?
I am over here with a major case of FOMO. All weekend long, I was with the in-laws, so I did not get a chance to watch the Versus, and I am heartbroken because I am a Versus fan. Go ahead, Timbaland and Swiss Beats, with this amazing machine that they have created that has brought the world so much joy. So I miss this one. I will catch it, but in terms of the Isley brothers playing some of the R. Kelly jams, I can't be mad. I mean, granted, R. Kelly, as the culture, we have canceled him because it took me to watch Surviving R. Kelly to understand the pain and the sickness of his actions behind the scenes. But I got so many bump and grind memories, 12 play memories. Oh, but I did. I kind of put it to the side. But shucks, he's got so much history with them. I don't think it was a conscious, like, we're going to let him, R. Kelly, off the hook for this. Because I bet you sometimes if you play Step in the Name of Love still at a wedding reception, people gonna dance.
And you know what? And there's probably a lot more songs that are out there that R. Kelly wrote that we just don't even know that are being played. Like that's one thing. What about you, Abdul?
I watched the whole thing in its entirety because I'm a big fan of the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire. I don't think I have all of their collection, but I'd have all the greatest hits and all of the major records. With regards to Ron Isley and his songs, number one, his songs, he performed them. Number two, I wish we'd stop canceling Black people. And if we're going down this road of not being able to watch something or not being able to do something or not being able to participate in something because of the history of it, then we need to start at the beginning. And that doesn't start with Black people. You know, take slave masters off my money, you know, take certain holidays out of here. Take certain, you know, like if we're going down that road, let's kill it all. And don't start with Black people first. Black people should be the last to be canceled because we were the first to be used. So I'm for Ron Isley, sing it all day. I still play R. Kelly songs. I still play Aaliyah songs. I still play, you know, the R. Kelly Jay-Z album. Like, I don't care. Yes. Like, I do care. I care about his actions, and his actions were dealt with and are being dealt with. But the artistry of it has nothing to do with the actions.
Right.
I can separate the two, and I know maybe his family and people close to that situation might not be able to, but for the moment, I think I'm able to.
Well, and that's a good point that I wasn't thinking about, which is canceling Aaliyah, all those songs that I still listen to this day. Like, you know, that's a good point. I know
B2K, Aaliyah, Jay-Z, Fat Joe, Selena Johnson. There's like a lot of people that he's, no pun intended, he's touched with regards to his, you know, his music. No, I said no pun intended.
I know.
With his artistry, and you know. Do you not like I Believe I Can Fly? Like, that's an amazing song.
Right. Mary, I think has got a few songs.
Mary has got a few songs from him. Yeah, he had a really good run.
And I also think too that, you know, I watched something on TMZ, and this guy, he was saying that he shouldn't have played it. I mean, you know, things would have, because they were Black women, Black girls, you know, no one seems to care. But if it had been someone else, if it would have been white women that he touched, or white kids or girls, or whatever the case may be, the situation would be completely different. And so I was like, well, he's making a good point. But, you know, D Nice also said that as soon as it got to the R. Kelly part, he kind of shut it off in that moment. So, D-Nice, helped out a little bit too. One of the other
but we're still watching Woody Allen movies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we're still and Roman Polanski movies. And my thing with regards to Black people is that we are always on the front line to be canceled for everything. But all these what about these monuments that are still Mount Rushmore? How about we blow that up first? Get rid of that, because we got a bunch of slave owners and murderers staring at a bunch of Native American people who they slaughtered. Does anybody want to cancel that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of Black people being the first on the front line. Like, we're cannon fodder for everything that has to do with abusing people. And I just don't like it. It's unfair to us because we're so mistreated in this country that people forget that every time we go to cancel one another.
Yeah. No, I mean, all of that is good points. I know one of the things that they're trying to cancel right now is Tyrese. Because Tyrese said, I hate that my mom used to drink every day, but she's the reason I know real music. And everybody on Twitter has something to say. They were like, somebody has to compile Tyrese's comments into a coffee table book, immediate bestseller. Somebody also said, if we could just get through just one verses without Tyrese revealing some personal trauma. Sorry, 1 second. My computer's acting up. I would be grateful. And then how do we cancel Tyrese's account? Enough is enough. So everybody's always wanting to cancel something. What were your thoughts about that and Tyrese being canceled?
Well, I think everybody also is so contradictory in what they say they want. They want people to be real, show me your genuine self. People want people to be transparent, especially celebrities. And here he is, probably with not even hesitation, just sharing his truth of how he grew up and who his mama was. And I think when we share like some things that might be painful or might seem embarrassing, like we open up doors for people to have permission for them to be themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if he's being real and his mama drank and that's when she was playing the good music, then good for him and his mama. And he didn't go so far to say, well, this is what happened when the lights went out when she was drinking or anything like gratuitous. It was just my mama played music when she drank. So I think people are being overcritical, and I think it's based on some past Tyrese stuff and not this current thing. Because how many parents did not drink and play some good music with the Isley brothers or Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Right. I think it just has to do with his past stuff that he's always putting his foot in his mouth all the time. What about you, Abdul?
This may not go over well, but I think it had to do with the fact that it was dealing with a Black woman. And in the day and age that we have now with social media being predominantly ran by Black women, and they have all these hashtags and slogans about believe Black women, listen to Black women don't owe you nothing, all that sort of stuff that they have. The fact that he was talking about a Black woman hit a certain space worse than if he would have been talking about anybody else. Because if he just said it about his father, no one would have cared.
That's interesting.
Because you got 50 million songs and 50 million things talking about my daddy wasn't there, Papa was a Rolling Stone, blah, blah, blah. Like that narrative has been there. So if he'd been talking about his father, I don't think anybody would have cared. If you'd have been talking about, something else other than that particular topic, I don't think most people would have cared.
You're right, because all that stuff that he said about Black women and in the past, there probably is a correlation to that, which is interesting. I never would have thought about it. That's why we have you on the show, Abdul, because you be bringing up stuff that I don't be thinking about. That's why we love you on here. Okay, so yes.
Someone in the comment just said, it just wasn't necessary for him to share at that moment. Why wasn't it? It went by so fast. It was like if you ever look at Twitter, those Instagram videos, those things go by so fast that if you blink, you could miss a lot of it. So just ignore it. If you don't want to see a comment, just ignore it. He wasn't so out of pocket that it had to be focused on.
And you know what's so funny? Like, I think if anybody else would have said it, any other the comedians, everybody would have laughed because I mean, I would have thought it was funny. Like, oh yeah, because that's what our parents was in there drinking, smoking weed, playing cards, doing whatever, playing Big Whisk and playing the Isley. I don't think anybody would have made that much of a big deal out of it. So, but on a positive note, just so you guys know out there, Versus was acquired by Triller Network. And it's awesome because the deal that Timberland and Swizz Beatz got and made, they became shareholders in Triller and in turn have allocated a part of their equity stars to the 46 performers who appeared on Versus to date. So performers like DMX and Ashanti, 2 Chainz, Rick Ross, Jeezy, Gucci Man, Patti LaBelle, My Little Brain, Neo. So all of these wonderful, wonderful artists that came on and was probably doing it for free, or whatever the case may be, doing it out of love. They are also going to be, shareholders. And I thought that was amazing. Any thoughts on that, Abdul?
I would, the thing, like, I first of all support you, both of those brothers and everybody involved. I'm thankful that people, specifically Black people, are getting equity in something that they helped build up. I just want to know how Apple let that go. Like, Apple had the clutch on that. And with most deals, you and I both know, all of us know here that in most deals, there's normally a delay time between the time you end a deal and the time you can go to a different company to do a new deal. So in most businesses, there's like a lag in between, like 6 months. If I sold a TV project and you can't sell it for the next, or I was working on it, you can't work on it for the next 6 months, or it's usually like a year and a half, to be honest with you. They got it like right after Apple let it go. They sold it to Trill like a couple days later. So I'm like, who dropped that ball?
Who dropped the ball?
Yeah.
Chinora, did you have anything? You want to read some of the comments as well? You have
I can definitely start with the comments because it's the people that make the world go round. So already checking in. We got Kenny all the way from Bahamas. What's up? Talking about that she watched Versus, and then definitely when we were talking about bless his heart, Tyrese. We got Tangerine in the house. What's up, Tangerine? It's always good to see you. She said she also really enjoyed this Versus. She didn't even do Easter dinner outing because of it. That's when you know something's good.
Right?
Go to dinner. And we got Tim checking in as well. What's up, Tim? He says the best comment was from Cedric when Contagious played. I might have to take my mattress off the box spring tonight.
It was funny.
Yes.
That was funny. So what are your thoughts about all that and the shareholders and
when we build our own and have our own and own our own and create our own, there's nothing but power in that. And then when we also recognize the people who played a part in that. So I'm glad to see that Swizz Beatz and Timberland weren't just like, this is what we got. No, they recognize the people that were part of them getting this deal and all of their success. So hats off to them. And yes, I would love to know what happened behind the scenes with Apple. I'm still not fully familiar with this Triller platform. Do you guys know any more about that?
Triller is the one that did the Mike Tyson fight. They are sort of a subscription based, or they're an app that does like sort of pay-per-view stuff. So you can watch like the next Mike Tyson fight. It was going to be on Triller. Before that, they were doing something else. I can't remember. It's just my mind because I got like a crazy headache right now. But
I'm sorry.
They've been acquiring different platforms, and they've been looking to get into the podcast space as well. Like they tried to buy the Joe Budden podcast. They tried to get into several different acquisitions of different companies that would go into sort of that pay-per-view sort of platform or content platform. And they made a deal with Triller for, I don't undisclosed amount of money, but congratulations to them. But Triller's the one thing about Triller, though, here's the thing about Triller that I don't like is that unlike Apple TV, where if you have the app, you can watch the app on the TV screen. Like you can download the app and watch it. You can't do that with Triller. With Triller, you have to get the app, watch it on your phone, and then stream it to your TV from your phone to your TV.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of the major differences. There's a lot of people who were complaining that they couldn't watch it on, or that's why the numbers were up. If you look at the numbers for the Isley Brothers thing, they was like 400,000, almost 500,000 in terms of views on Instagram, because a lot of people didn't want to have to go to the process of getting from their app and streaming it to the TV, because Apple TV, all you had to do was go to the Apple thing and you could watch it from there. So with the small little hiccups like that, but I mean, you know, I'm
sure they're gonna get it together for sure. And
absolutely,
Tangerine, that might be something you need to look into. You know, you got shoot your shot and you know, put that sucker on there, make that money, honey. And then a shout out to Avion Crockett, Anthony Adams, Godfrey. They are comedians who have been, ever since, I want to say, the Teddy Riley Babyface versus battle, they started doing these skits of the artists that were on there and just making fun of them and so forth. And yesterday, Timberland and Sweet Speeds were like, they got to be a part of this whole entire thing. So I think we have a picture of it right here.
I am to be here.
There you go.
I'm going to tell you, Ron, I've known you a long damn time.
That's right.
And Verdine, I've known you a long damn time with your pretty hair. I'm going to tell you right now. Whoa! Hey, I ain't never, and I done watched a lot of verses. Done watched a lot. And I'm going to tell you, all the verses is trash. And I said,
all I can say is, all I remember thinking to myself is, Steve Harvey, don't shut his mouth, because he was just talking way too much. But eventually they did tell him. I was like, stop making it about you, Steve. It's about them. And eventually he got it, and they just played the music the whole entire time. So congratulations to those brothers. They're really, you know, they've been in the game a long time, probably longer than me. You know, over the years.
How did Spice Adams become a comedian?
I don't know.
Because he started off as a football player.
Oh.
He played for the 49ers. He played for the Bears. He was like a defensive tackle for.
He's the only person I don't know.
Spice Adams started off. He played for Penn State. I remember in Penn State. And then after Penn State, he got drafted by the 49ers and played for them for a couple of years. And then went to the Chicago Bears and then played for them for a couple of years. And then he decided like this second act of like being this comedian on social media. And I think I was like, that's pretty interesting. I never thought that like he would be funny, but he's like really entertaining, really funny.
Yeah.
No, and Afion too as well.
And shout out, because Afion is representing North Carolina.
In the house.
Yep.
The one thing I can say that I want to say is we can't win if we don't get in the game. You know, sometimes you just got to put in the effort and just do the thing, do it. Because you just don't know what can happen, what the outcome can be. I mean, look at Versus, the way that all that just kind of blew up. Look at, you know, D Nice, or as Steve Harvey called him, DJ Nice. And so, and now you got these brothers that just decided to get out there and do their thing, and look where they are. You know, I know that, you know, the actress Tabitha, I mean, she just started doing some things online, and now she's got like 2 or 3 different TV shows happening.
Yep.
And, you know, God willing, that's what happens with BPS, the same thing. Because I remember thinking, I was like, gosh, I haven't done anything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You guys do a show every single week. So hopefully we'll have the same situation come in.
I got a question for both of you, though. Sure. Being that now that California, New York, and every other place is opening up, and I see more and more people going outside to different restaurants, how well do you think this Versus can continue to be? Being that it's something that you have to stay home to watch. And part of the magic that happened with this is that we were all forced to watch some of the stuff because we couldn't go outside. So, you think it's going to have legs after the pandemic / quarantine? You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Because like you said, you just take it, sucker, put it in, you know, and hook it up to your TV, stream it to your TV or whatever the case may be, and everybody gonna be out there partying and having a good time. It's just gonna be better because I just think people like, yo, you gonna come over? We got the Isley brothers tonight. We throwing a party.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's also, I agree. And I think it's also a reflection of when you create something great. Like create some, okay, all right, I ain't got nothing else to do. But no, they have created something epic that I think will stand the test of time. And maybe it's also timed with this whole financial new empire that they have found or finding with these new platforms. So I think it'll continue. And Christy, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, Abdul, but Christy, I want to agree with you 100% in terms of just getting in the game and being in the game and doing what you love, and these comedian brothers being an example. And another example I wanted to point out when you were talking was Issa Rae, just starting out doing something with her web series. Yeah. We talked about what her 8-figure deal.
Yeah, 40 million, something like that. Yeah.
Yes, way to be on it, Martika. I think it's all rooted not just in getting in the game and being in the game, but loving what you do. And again, putting out something quality, something good, and something that is a reflection of you. I think that is what will help you in terms of endurance and perseverance and staying in the game. And if it's something good, somebody's going to find it. The right time, the right people. Yep.
I agree with you 100%. It's such a good point. Go ahead, Abdul.
The only thing I would like for them to add is, and they did it a little bit in this versus, is the crowd. I think that would hype it up more if it would be more like a concert series where two groups are on stage performing their songs and there's an audience like a Showtime at the Apollo, because in this versus they did have a small little crowd in the front row because you could hear them and you could hear them singing in the background. And I think if you had more of that, I think that would really make this thing something to behold. They could travel like Wild 'N Out does it. So this would be like a Wild 'N Out version of music.
Yep, exactly. I think that would be dope if they do it live. And I'm sure that they're going to piggyback on something. You know what I mean? It's just who gets the headline, you know what I mean? Going back and forth. So we'll see. We'll see. I want to jump a little bit. We'll come back to the whole celebrity thing, but let's just jump to a little bit of politics on this side. So as you guys know, the Georgia lawmakers are demanding, they passed that whole entire law, which really a lot of people are not happy about. The new election law passed through the Georgia legislature and signed by Republican Governor Brian Kemp. So Major League Baseball decided to pull this year's All-Star game out of the state. And there's a lot of controversy that's going back and forth. You know, some people are saying, like Stacey Abrams, that the people who are going to be affected by, you know, people boycotting Georgia they're the ones that are going to be affected the most because they're the ones that are on the grounds, who are the workers that are working these jobs, right? They're going to be affected. And then you also have, there was something else I was going to say about that, but the thing is that I think is very interesting. There's a lot of people who want to boycott. We have Coca-Cola. People wanted to boycott Coca-Cola and also Delta because they were not speaking up. They decided to speak up, and now Republicans are now saying that we're going to boycott you because you did speak out, and now they're actually pulling Coca-Cola from all the Republican offices and stuff like that. So, yeah, right? So I guess my big, huge question is, do you guys feel that there should be a boycott in Georgia? Because, for instance, the Major League Baseball, 30% of the businesses are Black owned, which now are going to be affected. So now they pulled that money from them. And now that they're moving it to Denver, it's only 9% Black people who live in Denver. So where's the win-win situation here? What are your thoughts on it, Janora?
That's a tough one, but I think it's rooted in short term versus long term in history. So my heart does go out to all of the people who will be affected and not get that money. Everyone from folks collecting money at the parking lot, working at concession stands, all to the business owners and nearby restaurants. They are all going to miss out on something that would have been lucrative. However, the bigger point and the bigger picture is long-term voting rights and democracy. So if people can keep that at the forefront of what we're doing it for, and then, you know, I hate asking folks to sacrifice because we've been sacrificing, but just see it as a hit for the greater good and for the long term of what we're fighting for.
Wow. What about you, Abdul?
Well, we got to remember this isn't the first time that a major organization has banned the state, because Janora's home state of North Carolina a few years ago got banned by the NCAA, that moved their Final Four or their March Madness to another state because of the bathroom bill that would have allowed transgender to have the identifier. Yeah, so I mean, it isn't the first time it's happened.
Arizona too, when they wanted to for the MLK, they didn't want to honor
MLK Day. Yep. So and when it comes to most black people, majority of the black people are blue collar workers. So anything that you do with regards to businesses affect us, even if it's something as simple as moving from Detroit to the outskirts of Michigan to start, General Motors to move their plant. So stuff like that is always going to affect us. But if the cause is worthy, and I'm not on the end of it, I don't have to suffer the penalties like some of these people have to with regards. So I can say this on the outside looking in, but sometimes I think it's worth it, like the NCAA, or even go as far back as apartheid, when we were telling, we were boycotting companies and saying they had to divest from South Africa or we wouldn't buy their products anymore. Coca-Cola was one of those companies. Pepsi was one of those companies. IBM was one of those companies. So, I mean, if how's that phrase go? If you sneeze, black people catch a cold. So we're always going to catch the bad end of the stick. Right. But I mean, if it's something worth the greater goal that Janora said, then maybe I could agree with that. I could agree,
it's hard to because we're not in it, and we're also talking about people who haven't made money in over a year, and I guess a year since the pandemic. So we're talking about that on top of, and they probably were so excited that, like, not only is it going to be here, but we're actually going to be able to have an audience. It's going to have people coming into the stands or whatever. Yes, go ahead.
I don't like the blame shifting also. This isn't it's not the Major League's fault, baseball's fault, or the people who want to boycott the fault. It's the Republican Party's fault for putting these draconian laws that would limit voter mail-in ballots. They had issues with voter ID, things like those. Things are the reason. All the stuff is a reaction to their behaviors. So let's not change the focus and say, oh, now what are people going to do with the money? Blame the Republicans. Say you're taking money out of these people's pockets with your behavior. Not people are boycotting because you did something wrong. Now blame the people for you're losing money. It doesn't go that way. You need to focus on the Republican Party and the way they're trying to minimize and limit access to voting, specifically to black people, especially because of what happened last year. So
retaliating.
Retaliating
because they lost. Okay, so let's move on to something a little bit different. Jumping back into the entertainment, we had the SAG Awards this past weekend. We were super excited. We had a couple of great winners. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. He won for Ma Rainey. Viola Davis won for Ma Rainey, and Daniel Kaluuya won for Judas and the Black Messiah. So what are your thoughts about it? Did you guys get a chance to see these movies? What were your thoughts about about the award show? Did you, it was kind of quick, but what were your thoughts? Oh, and then we're going to make sure we get to some of these comments that are in here that I didn't see come through. But go ahead. I'll start with you, Janora.
I love to see us winning. Going back to Issa Rae, when Issa Rae, when Black folks win, I think we all win. And seeing diversity, and knowing that it's not just. I feel like it's always interesting when we have a movement and then you see Black folks win, like, and you want to wonder, are you just pandering to us because it's you want to be woke, or is this something real? And I want to say that I'm feeling that it's something real and it's a lasting change, not just to have us win, but to see our stories and to have multiple ways that we can consume entertainment content, stories, again, that feature us. And so I think the SAG Awards were an example of that, and I just cannot wait to see more. Yes, hats off Viola, Daniel, and yes, God rest you in peace as you are up there on the super big screen, Chadwick. I don't know what's wrong with my mouth today, but I'm I think my brain is thinking way too fast for my mouth that's moving, but I'm feeling it all. It means I'm excited. I'm on the ride.
I'm gonna let you get to it, Abdul, but I did get a little emotional for like a second, so I probably need to go get tissue, but I just want to give a shout out if he's still on. Barry was my dad's best friend, one of my dad's best friends, and so he's checking out the show today, and who's also was Atlanta based, so I'm sure he has some things that could weigh in because he's been in the hotel business with my dad, and was there when my dad passed and so forth. So sorry, but I'm not used to a lot of people knowing who my dad is, so. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I say that if people are wondering why I have tears. So Abdul, we'll get to you, and then we're gonna jump back to some of these comments and stuff. Thanks, Karen. Okay, go ahead, Abdul.
Just to respond to Barry's comment, he's absolutely right. Your dad would be proud of you with everything that you've accomplished. So don't let that skim by. He would be very proud of everything that you've accomplished. So
thank you.
With regards to the SAG Awards, I'm with Janora. I think that I'm always happy when Black people win. I'm still confused about the Daniel Kaluuya. He got Best Supporting Actor. Who was the lead in that movie?
Yeah,
because they're always, because the Oscars, they're both, him and Lakeith are both supporting. In this, Daniel supporting. Like, I'm still trying to figure out who's the lead in that movie. Yeah. And how does that system work? Where, because there was another Black gentleman also nominated in that category as well for the SAG Awards. Odoms, Leslie Odoms.
Leslie Odoms.
So what'd you say, Janora?
Not plural. Odom.
I'm sorry. Leslie Odom. Junior.
Sorry, go ahead.
So but yeah, I'm trying to fact how do these categories get put in order in terms of who's the lead, who's supporting, and how is it some are supporting in one awards but a lead in another awards? Like outside of that, like question, I really just support all the Black people who won. Viola, I saw both movies, I should say, and the Five Bloods got nominated too as well for best stunts. So, and I saw that as well. But I really liked, Viola did a great job, Chadwick did a great job, Daniel did a great job, Leslie did a great job. The Five Bloods I really enjoyed. So I like them all.
I know when for the SAG Awards and the Emmys, you or your team nominates you in a specific category. So I know, I think Tim, the last time we talked about it, said that the Oscars are the ones that put you in a specific category. But I know for SAG, Emmys, you place yourself, or the team will place you in a specific category. So they chose to be in supporting and not lead, which to me, I mean, if you want to win, maybe that's the reason why. I'm sure that was the reason why they did it. But for me, I would want to be placed where you know, where
Mhm.
if I'm the lead of this movie, I should be placing the lead of this movie.
Or maybe
It's all
it goes
politics.
or maybe it goes back to a theory we had in an earlier episode, and that is to have a separate category than Chadwick, so we can do a sweep of multiple categories versus
Yeah.
Absolutely.
head to head with the.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why they did it. I'm sure, you know, that's what happened with Viola. I told you she won the Tony, she won the like Golden Globes or the SAG Awards or the Emmy for lead, and then for the Oscar she won for supporting. And I remember just being so upset about it. I was like, you're the lead, you're the only female in this movie in Fences, how could you be a supporting? But she ended up winning, and that's, you know, I guess it was a great choice for her, and you know, I'm proud that she won. I
So
wanted
do
to
you
get to
think
some of these-
one question, because I've been wondering this the whole nomination season. What's going on with Lovecraft Country? Why are they not
Didn't
winning
win a
anything?
thing.
Didn't win a thing, and that series was amazing. The acting in that series was amazing. And it's like
Not
they
one
lost to The
nomination.
Mandalorian.
Well,
Yeah.
they did get one nomination, but I mean, no nominations as far as the acting was concerned, and I thought it was a shame. Crystal, I see you in the background. We have a guest on today. She over here like, yes, Lovecraft Country. Yeah, so yeah, that's I think Journey is phenomenal. She is overdue. She should have won, could have won, and for so many different things, and she definitely should have been nominated. Janora, would you like to run through some of these comments?
I would love to. We got.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to go grab some tissue because you know. All right, go ahead.
All right, so Thornton, what's up, Thornton? Revisiting us this week. He says Daniel Kaluuya definitely deserved recognition. I love to see the side of the Black Panther movement instead of the militant part that they always show. Yes to that, Thornton. Karen, hey, Karen in the house showing love to our beloved Christy Ferris. Always good to see you. Tim chiming in again. He says, all deserved, but I was disappointed Lakeith Stanfield wasn't even nominated. Oh, and for those of you guys who know who Lakeith Stanfield is, he's the one that played Judas in Judas and the Black Messiah, opposite of Daniel Kaluuya. I agree with that.
Fred Hampton. He played Fred Hampton.
Lakeith didn't play.
No, I thought you said he played. What's the guy's name? Bob something. But yeah, you're right. Fred Hampton was Kaluuya.
Yes. Faye, how you doing, Faye? Absolutely. They were the cancel culture, and as usual, they blame it on everybody else. Oh, wait, I want to make sure I know what conversation, because I know I'm going back. Oh, I think we're talking about the Republican Party, or maybe I also want to be clear with words, because I think language is very important. I want to make sure that we separate Republican Party from Trump supporters, or just have a distinction, because I don't want to throw everybody in one lump category, and then I also don't want to generalize everybody in that category. But I do think that there is a distinction, because I don't think all Republicans were the ones running up at the insurrection of the Capitol building. I think that was very specific to Trump supporters. All right, Thornton chimed in that last conversation too. Oh, he says they don't exist. No, we need checks and balances, Thornton. and also going back to our last conversation, Eric. Hello, Eric. Welcome to our show. NBA All-Star was also moved. I did not realize that, from Atlanta. So lots and lots of stuff going on. And this was also from Eric. Very important. We just need to focus on passing that John Lewis voting rights law to supersede that horrible law. Yes. And I think that's very important in terms of federal legislation, so we don't have to fight it at the state level and just federally say right is right and wrong is wrong. And let everybody have a voice.
So this time is going by fast.
Yes, I can't believe the time.
I know. Okay, let's try to see if we get through. Did you get through everybody?
Oh, wait, no. We've got some new ones. Oh, and I want to make sure, Miss Sadiq, I hope I'm saying your last name correctly, but I think I am. Yes, it was. It's Black Sci-Fi. Oh, talking about Lovecraft Country. Ooh. Yes, don't think they are ready to nominate us in that respect. Oh, they better get ready, because definitely they came with it. That is a fantastic comment. And she continues, plus It also covers the negative aspects of American history regarding civil rights with Black people. Agreed, agreed. Very, very good points.
I think it's Takuma, right? It's
Takuma Sadiq. Yes.
Yeah, Takuma. Yeah,
Takuma.
she was on. We were on when we were doing. Anyway, yes. Go ahead.
That's the homie, Takuma.
Hey, Takuma. Yes. Beautiful name, by the way. And do we boycott the film industry in Georgia too, though?
Kevin. Kevin's a writer on monogamy, just so that you guys know. If you are monogamy fans, he is a writer on there. He throws down. He makes Deandra look really good. That's a good question. Do we do that?
When we were boycotting stuff prior to that, we were only boycotting the stuff that was against what we were trying to do. So if you're in support of an organization like the MLB would be, because they have a lot of Republican supporters and Republican owners. Coca-Cola, they invest in money in the Republican Party. Then yes, you do those people. But if you're someone supporting a cause for the Black community, no, you don't boycott those people. Your boycotts are supposed to be specific. The boycott in Selma was specific. It wasn't boycott everything in Alabama. It was boycott.
But I think his question is: Do we stop filming in Georgia because of the law in Georgia?
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, see, I think of it differently. I think of I think we're taking a stand. Georgia, your state is doing some crazy shit. We're not gonna give you no more money, or we are not supporting your state's
law.
Yeah, until you change the law, and you can't pick and choose what that's going to be. And so Tyler Perry falls in that category of money that Georgia would receive based on the people and the productions there. So I say you can't say yes Coke, yes Home Depot, but no Tyler Perry, because Tyler Perry's Black. Because although the CEO of Coke and Home Depot might be white, a lot of the workers are not. So I think you just got to do a blanket stance on this. And
just to piggyback on what you're saying, Janora, it makes it stronger, and it also doesn't make people who are boycotting, like baseball, make them stand out alone in this. If we're gonna do it, we got to do it like as a whole, to make a stance, to make them change the law. You can't just do one, like you said, pick and choose which one. So you make it a good
But don't you think the difference between Home Depot and Delta and Coke are those people historically for a long time have supported the Republican Party, which has allowed them to make these sort of bills because they have had the funding to do the sort of their campaigning. I don't know if Tyler Perry fits in that category. I don't think all of it is the same. And I know what you mean. I'm not like trying to cop pleas for Tyler Perry, but I do think he stands in a different space than those major corporations who've been supporting Republicans and reporting Republican policies that has gotten us to this space.
Right. So let's take Tyler Perry out of the picture and just make it in a general statement of, do we in the film industry stop filming in Georgia until they pass the law?
I think if you're going to be woke, you got to have both eyes open. Not just the one that's
something to throw out there.
Or easy to see out of. You gotta have both of them open. And if you're gonna stand and do this, you gotta do this.
Right. Let's try to get to a couple of more, because we do have a guest for our for our BPS person of the week. We'll just throw out a couple little things. DMX, overdose, hospital. It's not looking good. The family, I'll let Abdul talk about it, because I know you just brought it up right before we came on, but our prayers are out to DMX. Abdul, did you want to throw something in for that? Or what's going on with the family? Oh, and I think he just disappeared for a second. Okay, so what's happening with the family is that Abdul was just saying that, as in the last couple of hours, the family probably will have to make a decision. Do they take him off of life support? Is what Abdul was saying. So you know, it's just a sad time to just see somebody who was struggling, who was doing his best to try to make it work and to try to stop doing the drugs and staying off of it, and got caught up in, and now had the overdose situation. You guys know that my family, I dealt with it with my whole brother. So my condolences goes out. For you, Janora, what are your thoughts on that?
I was just going to say, just bringing it full circle to where we started the conversation with Versus. I mean, that's my last time seeing DMX in current times, and it was so much joy that he brought, and good time that he looked like he was having, and you felt it. And so It is very heartbreaking to hear this news.
Yeah, I'm you know, it's heartbreaking, really. You just don't want to see anybody lose their life to the drugs, and how he, you know, his best friend introduced him to the drugs. So we always got to make sure that we're careful who we surround, who we allow to be in our circle, because we can't trust every single person. I was trying to wait for him to jump back in. Did you want to talk about the trial real quick, or do you want to just go ahead and get to okay, me either. I don't either, to be honest. Right.
Couple comments.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this about, we won't talk necessarily about the trial because we did talk about it last week. But one thing that Cher ended up in the hot seat because she sent out a tweet that said, "I wish I could have been there." You know, well, she said, "I keep thinking maybe if I had been there, I could have helped," as though she would have been able to save George Floyd's life. And a lot of people went ham on her. So one of the questions I think I'm gonna put on my Facebook and my Instagram this week is, if you were in your, you know, a teenager and social media was out, when I was talking about the current teenagers, you know, would you get yourself in trouble? Because it just seems like everybody's getting in trouble who mean well, but are getting themselves in trouble by their tweets. So what were your thoughts about Cher?
Yeah, I bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
She
meant well. She meant well.
She meant well, but the whole trial so far have been trained people, EMTs, fire departments that were there and were allowed to help. Because Derek Chauvin said no, back off, or however it went down. That was so egregious, and I hope he goes down for. So yeah, I don't know if Cher was saying she would have been able to do something, or maybe she was just showing compassion. I wish I was there to be part of the crowd.
Yeah,
my heart goes out, but Boo Boo wouldn't be able to do nothing. Yeah,
no, you know, but you never know. You know, I mean, she is Cher. If she would have walked out, maybe he would have been like, "Hey, you know, celebrities do have some pull sometimes." So I'm trying to give it a benefit of the doubt. Hey, Abdul,
what up?
Good to see you back. So let's see. Let me just do a couple more of these before we get to our BPS of the week. Seems like we're losing so many icons in the last few years. Sending prayers to his families. And Tangerine said actors and shooting locations are easily replaceable. Yeah. So, and then this one right here, Abdul, you are correct, but we have to understand that these types of laws are coming in other states too. Very true. When will Monogamy Season 3 be released? I want to say, I know Karen is watching, who is a producer, and she also plays Sensa Ray. I want to say maybe the end of summer, the beginning of fall, possibly. So, you know, fingers crossed. We did a hell of a job. So we are definitely excited about that. So let's get to our BPS person of the week, unless there are other things that anybody else wants to say. And if so, put it in the chat and we'll make sure we get to it at the end. Celebrities always count for something. So our BPS person, just so you guys know, if you're first time on the show, we love to honor people who are in the community, who are doing amazing things that we normally would not hear from, or sometimes we do. But it's important that we show everybody out there that people are making a difference and doing things and taking things in their own hands and creating their businesses. So Crystal Henry, she's a writer, speaker, blogger, stationer, and creative of Around the Way Mom, which serves as an international online platform for Black moms to gain solutions that address their needs as women, partners, mothers, friends, and in business. In addition to empowering moms through writing, common sense products, workshops, and speaking, Crystal is a contributing writer for Baltimore's Child Magazine, Black Women Hustle, and a few other ones. We want to make sure that we bring her on. And you can also find Mother's Day cards on her website and get prepared for future stationery to come. So let's bring on Crystal. Hi, Crystal. How are you doing?
Good.
Welcome to the show. Excellent. We wanted to make sure that we honored you because you have so many amazing things that are going on. I know you've been blogging since 2016. So just tell us a little bit about what you do and how we can support you.
Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I have enjoyed the conversation. I am a Lovecraft Country fan, so I feel like they were snubbed, definitely.
Absolutely.
So I'm coming to you from Baltimore, and I started to write in 2016, first time mom, and selfishly, I just wanted to talk about me. And so in the years that have passed, it has transformed for me, not thinking about me, but really thinking about other moms and wanting to encourage other moms to remember who we are before the kids came on the scene, because they automatically get included in everything just because. And so, before they were, our kids, we were women, we were and still are partners. We are somebody's friend. We have our homegirls. We are family members. We are in business, either for ourselves or, working in the corporate world. So that is what my goal is to help moms to remember who they are, aside from the kids.
That's nice. And tell us a little bit about your stationery.
Yeah, so you see some of my babies back here. I had to put them on display for y'all. So you know what I did? I started thinking about Mother's Day in February, and I started thinking, you know what? When I want to get my girlfriends, my homegirls, some Mother's Day cards, where are the cards that look like something I would buy for my friends? And, again, no shade to the Hallmarks or to the American Greetings of the world, because I still buy their products, but I want to be able to buy something that looks like me, that would sound like me. So I didn't see it. I created it. So I created a line of Mother's Day cards. And so I have 6 of them. This is 2 in my hands, but they say things like on the inside, Happy Mother's Day, girl, because that's what I say to my girlfriends all the time. I use the term girl all the time. So they are vibrant, they are fun, they are reflective of me being a 40-year-old, mom. They're reflective of what I think about when I think about my friends, and I am proud of them. And I'm gonna take a line from you, Janora. You were talking about Issa Rae, and you said, look, you have to love what you do. It's got to be quality, and it has to be a reflection of you. And that's exactly what these cards are. Every single one of them reflects a different part of me. So I love that.
I love it.
Does any of your cards say "yes, bitch" or anything like that?
They don't. However, you can always write that in. So you can write yes in there, and that'll work just fine. So yeah.
So how did you find the time to complete this passion project, being a mom?
I made the time. I mean, that's the bottom line. Look, I'm busy. I work a 9-to-5 for a nonprofit. I've got a husband, got a house, got a 9-year-old, got my mom, got my sister, all these things, but we always make time for what we want to make time for. It was important to me. I love it. And so again, my very first driving focus was, I want to create something that I want to give to my friends. I want to create something that somebody is going to like to touch and feel and go, oh, this is nice. And so that was the driving force. The driving force wasn't, oh, how many sales can I get? Let me hurry up and do. No, the driving force was, let me create a good product, and all those other things will come. So I made the time. I'm not a graphic designer. I have some graphic skills, but I did work with a graphic designer to take my original words, my original ideas, and put them into life. And I just got moving. I made the time.
I love it. And that's the thing I think a lot of people don't realize is that you can make the time.
Yeah.
We really do have the time. You know what I mean? I think that's what's so important. Go ahead, Abdul. I see your head going.
No, I was wondering, with your blogs, how are people taking the fact that you're making distinguishing? I know a lot of women, specifically when they become mothers, that they take on that identity. So it isn't pushed on them; they take on that identity. And you're saying, divorce yourself from that and be a multitude of things.
Yep.
How are people taking that concept? Being
They
that
love
they do.
Yeah, and they feel liberated because, you know, my mom she's a boomer. My mother-in-law is a boomer. And I can remember growing up and mom not take that time for herself. So then what I saw was the burnout. What I saw was her, you know, kind of stealing moments for herself. But I'm like, you know what? But then on the flip side, I saw my mother-in-law when I came into my husband's family to, you know, take on time for herself. And I was like, you know, nothing has to suffer because I go on vacation with my friends. Nothing has to suffer if I go and take a nap. Nothing has to suffer if my husband and I have date night once a week. Nothing has to suffer if I'm focusing on my business, because at a certain point, some ball is going to drop. But more and more women feel empowered. They feel, you know, really encouraged to think about themselves, because that statement is true. If I don't take care of me, this household's going to fall apart. Let's just be real. Nothing's going to get done. Everybody's going to be grumpy. So let me go and take care of me, and not to the point of excess. However, is, you know, let me focus on myself a little bit, you know, so that I can take care of me.
So what does a typical day look like with you taking care of your home, you taking care of your husband, your kid, and trying to put in the work? I don't know if you work out as well, you know what I mean? Your business. How does a typical day look like? And how can women, mothers, and fathers figure out a way to incorporate that into their lives? You know what I mean?
So
here's a priority.
Yeah. So here's what happened today. Today's a Wednesday. My son is in school virtually. My husband is a principal. He's back in the building full time. I work for a nonprofit, so I am home working constantly. So I prioritize working out, and I'm into jumping rope. I'm trying to get my foot action better. So my son was logged in. Well, actually, he had woken up. And I was jumping rope out in the living room. My husband was gone to work. After I jumped rope, I made sure that he got online. I hopped in the shower. I got dressed. I sat down, you know, and yes, I'm kind of multitasking as I'm doing some corporate work and some around the way mom work. And then I had to run out and take a delivery of cards to a local store here in Baltimore to sell. And, you know, again, I made the time for it. So it comes into, as much as I can, trying to be planned, not down to the moment. But again, if that means me thinking at 9 o'clock what I'm going to cook dinner at 5 o'clock, then maybe I'm planning that far out. I don't plan weeks out in advance. But, you know, again, it's looking like that. And, you know, I would also encourage moms and dads to think about how to ask for some help. Maybe not with everything. And some people are uncomfortable asking somebody, you know, can you watch the kids, or can you do this favor for me? But the more that I do that, the more I say, you know what, I really can't do this. Like with my son and his haircut, I was like, look, I don't like going to the barbershop. Can you take him? I really don't want to go. And that right there freed me up. And somebody might say, that was a really small thing, but for me, it was crafting out some time of something that I did not really enjoy doing. So I asked for some help to get it done, and I'm free. I might get put back on the roster for that, but I'm free for right now.
I love it. I love it. Go ahead, jump in.
Have you been getting more or less work done during this time now that everybody's home? Is it you have more free time because of the travel? Or is it you have less time because everybody's home?
I have less time because he's home. And I think from a corporate work perspective, I think that they have, tried to pack in and account for many more moments in the workday. And then, when it comes to my own purpose, I try to account for some more. So again, that's when it comes, I have a hard stop time to my work day. So I tend not to do work on the weekends for anybody, not for myself, not for my corporate work, because I can. And then what happens is my son walks by like, you're at the computer again. And so again, I got to get up. I try not to do that, but it is hard to not find yourself working constantly because you're at home all the time. But you got to put in some boundaries, and I got to set those for myself.
Actually, I do got just a real follow-up question with regards to kids now. So we're all of the similar age. And I remember for me growing up, my parents didn't micromanage my time. It was do your homework, go outside and play. And then they would all that time in between, I don't know what they were doing, but I wasn't around to see it. So you growing up in that era, how is it having to micromanage a child right now? Is it a better thing? How do you feel having to do that now? Because I feel like everybody's micromanaging their child.
Well, I don't micromanage him. So,
okay.
Well, let me say this. We have one child, so he's a single child, but he's 9. He's super independent, and we talk a lot with him about being independent. And then with him being online 24/7 for school, again, we talk a lot about that. All of those, courtesies and all the education that comes with being online and all that learning. And then, we let them know, look, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, we will find out. Like everything that you do that you think may be hidden will eventually come out. So a little bit of that statement, we give them enough of that, to kind of, take care of himself. But we do our best with a lot of reminders, like tonight is trash night, right, for him. So before I got on, I'm like, don't forget, you got to do trash. You're going to do trash before you go to bed, or, making sure that his chores are done and he can see them on a schedule, or we can remind him. But I don't like to be micromanaged. Neither does my husband. So I try not to do that. And, giving him that space so that if I'm not on over him all the time, then he can learn how to manage his own time, like how to clean up after himself, how to, do all the stuff that he needs to do,
I love it. Especially too. I'm glad you are, I'm gonna let you jump in, Janora, but I'm glad that you have that balance, because I'm gonna tell you right now, my mama was not paying attention to what we were doing. And I'm surprised that things were not worse off, because if she would have knew what was going on with my brother and I, let me tell you something. So
we're all here to talk about it, though. We're all here to talk about it.
Exactly. So that's good that you found a balance. Janora?
I want to go back and talk about you as an entrepreneur and creative, Crystal. So out of everything in your shop and everything that you do you have a favorite product or favorite design or favorite something that you've come up with?
They're all my babies. They're all my favorites. No, really, I really don't. And let me say this. So Around the Way Mom started as a blog in 2016. It officially became a real business, in 19, if I'm not mistaken. And then I really didn't start taking this whole business idea serious until 2020. And so it happened quickly because I think, again, my mind wasn't thinking in that way. My mind thought, I like to write. I'm going to write. I don't mind engaging with people online and doing this and doing that. But how do you take a blog and turn that into a business? And I was not interested then in monetizing my words in terms of the blog. So I struggled with trying to find a product that aligned with what it is that I did. And so I didn't want to get into apparel. I love apparel. I buy everybody else's, but I'm like, that's what everybody else does, right? And so then when the idea came for stationery, and then I've got other ideas for stationery, I was like, this is right up my alley. So I love them. Like I said, they are my words. They are my babies. And every single one of them honestly reflects a different side. I can think about different friends who fit the profile of the card and who I had in mind when I was creating them.
I think it's wonderful. I just want to read some of these off. You go, Crystal, in my Martin voice. Faye said,
One of the cards says, "You're the Nikki to my Andell, the Tia to my Tamara, the Gina to my Pam, and the my Florida." And then it's talking about, you're my homegirl, you're my favorite mom. So I love the Martin reference.
I love it. And then, Martika, if there's a way that we could pull up her website, that'll be great too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can get that on there. I'm not sure yet. But Faye said, love it. My company, House Lights, was started in the 80s as a greeting card company. You've got a better chance to succeed now. Continue blessings and focus and energy.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And then let's see, asking for help is huge. I was used to not asking for help, and I almost burned out when I had to take on more in the home. Yeah. So
I got just 2 questions real quick. One question.
And then we have the website too. Go ahead.
One question. I'm just giving back to back. One is, what's your best seller with regards to the cards? What sells the best? And the other one is, with regards to your blog, what has been the most common thing people have asked you or have asked of you, and what is your response to what they've asked?
Got it. So 2 of the main bestsellers, this one, so Black and White one, we may not often call our mom's mother Mother. We may use a slang term, mother. So Black and White, and then it's different M words, U words, V words, A words, different adjectives. So this is a hot one. And all the cards have writing on the inside. So that's different than a lot of independent stationers where they have a really hot design on the outside, but they're blank on the inside. I get overwhelmed sometimes, like all this blank space, I don't know what to write. So I give people an option. You can sign your name, you can write something. And then the other hot seller is this one, like my Mother's Day wish for you, but then it's a checkbox of everything ranging from, I wish you dusted baseboards to good drinks and a good nap. And so that's the one. Yep. You can go right to shop. And the thing that comes up, not the thing, but the theme that comes up on the blog is really a lot of moms looking to find balance, looking to find answers to common solutions that they are having. And so one of them, for instance, came about when kids were going to school virtually full time. Parents were struggling to make sense of what their virtual school schedule was looking like. So I wrote about it, and I created a blank template that they can fill in and put in their kids' school schedule. My son's is actually behind the cards. But that was an answer. So I'm finding that as busy as we are, as overwhelmed as we may feel at times, we're looking for answers. This one, kids love languages. I wrote about this in February. Parents were like, what? I never thought about my child's love language, or how I can express my child's love language through acts of service or, words of affirmation. So they're looking for, answers to just day-to-day common situations that really come up, and how they can make it make sense for themselves. This one I wrote down here with my son is talking about in 2021. I'm not looking to be, busy and trying to be more focused, right? And then looking at the fall, facing the fall, like how am I going to be looking at the fall, but more with hope and more with, anticipation for what's to come. So I've written about, what it's like to raise a Black son. I've written about what it's like to talk to him about the pandemic. I've written about his journey through play therapy and through counseling, my journey through counseling and what that looks like. So people are looking for me to be honest. Nothing I write about is a lie. Nothing I write about is made up. It's all a part of who we are and what we do every day.
I love it. Well, congratulations. We wanted to make sure that we honored you here. Everybody who's out there, Mother's Day is coming up. Let's get those Mother Day cards out, especially something that says what we really want to say, instead of us standing there trying like, nope, this don't apply to me. Nope, this don't apply to me. So I think we should definitely get out there and support. Again, what is your website? I know it's there on the bottom, but what's your...
AroundTheWayMom.com is the website. You can click on shop, and I am active on social media. So on Instagram, I am Round the Way Mom, because someone else has Around the Way Mom, but I'm Round the Way Mom on IG, Facebook, Around the Way Mom, Twitter. I must admit, I am not great with Twitter. You can find me there, but I'm not great with Twitter. I am, Urban Mom Blogger on Twitter.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody make sure you get out and support. Again, we love to honor people in the community so that we can love on them, support Black businesses, or support just Black people who are doing amazing things to let you know that you can do it too. And just because somebody else's light is shining does not mean that it dims our light. It means that we're all shining together as long as we're both working hard. So make sure you guys remember that. Any last words out there, Crystal, that you want to say? And then we'll jump to Janora and then Abdul, and then we're going to peace out in a second.
Well, first off, thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. And, to the parents out there, don't forget you. The kids are going to get taken care of regardless. Don't forget about yourself. And go and read. Go and shop. Go and buy.
All right. Janora?
Yo, Crystal, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to do some shopping on the site. I not only have an amazing mom, but I have some amazing sister girlfriends. So in terms of loving on them and also supporting you and women and creatives like you doing your thing. Thank you, everybody who tuned in today. Abdul, I think you agreed with me more today than you have in many episodes. So this was kind of nice.
Yeah.
This was nice, Abdul. And you know what? You asked very good questions, Abdul. That is my question for you today.
Appreciate that. Crystal, you should do a card with Janora and her Easter tree in the background.
Anyway, no.
Love on your tree. Love on your tree all year.
Thank you, Crystal. That's all I have.
Abdul?
No, that was it. I just wanted to make fun of Janora's tree.
Well, we just want to say thank you guys for always tuning in. Thornton, thank you for saying it's a great show, one of the best parts of your week. I'm so glad. We have, let's see, what do we have? Eric saying great show. Yeah, I missed you guys. Great show. Oh, thanks, Monica. And then, thanks, Steve. Christy is so positive. Again, we thank you. We thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and share. Let people know that we are here so we can get the word out. And we will definitely see you guys next week. And then I know the following 2 weeks we have some great special guests. The last 2 weeks, so be ready for that. We'll tune you guys in soon. All right. Have a good night, everybody. I think somebody's saying something. What are they saying? Very thoughtful, insightful questions, Abdul. I see your mind just going. I know he always got to go.
Yes, thanks for tuning in, Kathy.
Thank you,
All
Kathy.
right. Good night, you guys.